Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News starts right now.
It's a sunny day today, but now Storm Tracker 4 showing snow heading our way. Should not be a major event, let's say that right at the top, but the timing will make it inconvenient.
Paul, we could be looking at a pretty slippery commute in the morning.
Yeah, it could be. And right now, some of us are actually still above freezing. City airports at 35, metro airports at 33, but a lot of us are now at or below freezing, so this snow will stick once it starts getting a little heavier. So let's talk about it with Storm Tracker 4. And you can see this has filled in a bit since we last saw you at 4, 5, and 6 on the broadcast site on Local 4. And basically, as we've talked about all winter, it's been a long winter. We've had a lot of time to kind of educate you and talk about it. We need to look at visibilities to see, you know, just how thick this snow is coming down. And so, first of all, the airports are reporting flakes now. Lapeer over to Flint, Howell, Jackson, Lansing. But again, the truth is in the visibilities. And take a look. Visibilities are 2 or 3 miles. 2 to 3 mile visibility is basically more than flurries, but not a real accumulating snow. So we need to get these visibilities down to, you know, like a mile, then 3/4 of a mile. At that point, we start to see the more accumulating snow move in, but everybody else is at 10 miles. So here we are with the model, really doing a nice job of, this is, by the way, just was able to get this in. This is the newest model. It just came in, and it's doing a nice job of modeling what's happening now. We just showed you where that snow was, and so the pattern's going to fill in as we get into the overnight hours. So this is 2 o'clock in the morning, so you can see how things have filled in. We're all getting some snow, basically. And then notice it starts to kind of degrade toward morning. There is still some snow in the area, and the model might not have every spot correct, but basically there is still some snow in the morning. And if the road crews are out there and actually getting some salt down, we may be able to mitigate a lot of the grease on the roads tomorrow morning, but there are going to be some slick spots, so just plan for some extra time. But then notice how the pattern keeps degrading, and I think much of the daylight hours are going to be flake-free. And then as we get into tomorrow evening, this is what we're watching for our Saturday, because this is an Arctic cold front edge of some very, very bitter cold air by March standards, a few snow showers with it, but that thing comes through during the evening hours, and that opens up the floodgates for what's going to be a very cold Saturday. Now, as far as the snow amounts, I still think a lot of us are not going to even make it to an inch. Again, the northwestern part of the area, maybe you get a little over an inch, inch and a half, something of that nature. So this is not a big deal, but as the guys were just mentioning, it's the timing. If overnight toward the morning rush hour, that's the only real problem here. So we're going to call this a minor nuisance here on the snow meter. Like I say, it could impact that Friday morning rush hour, but as long as we can keep the Friday evening rush hour, that's when we're getting home and starting the weekend, as long as we can keep that Friday evening rush hour okay, then we'll get through this just fine. So tonight dropping down to 27 degrees, and then tomorrow we'll get up to about 37, 36, 38 degrees, right in there, mid to upper 30s, and we already talked about when the snow is going to fall. And then we get to Saturday, where we're not even going to get, in fact, well, just take a look. We're not even going to get out of the 20s on Saturday, and the wind chills are we're going to start the day in single digits, and then we're going to be only in the low teens for the rest of the day. It is going to be a very cold day, but likely a dry day. But then Sunday, we start to warm it right back. We turn it around in one day, back into the mid-40s. Now, it's going to be breezy both days. Sunday, we could get a period of snow, actually, at the lead edge of that warmer air coming in. Now, look at that, 53 on Monday. Okay, we cool off to 49 on Tuesday, 57 Wednesday, 63. Yes, 60s on Thursday. So we've been saying it all week, from snow to 60s in the same 7-day period, guys.
Incredible. Okay, Paul, thank you. Developing tonight, a DPSCD police officer is in critical condition after trying to stop a fight on Detroit's west side. We're told a fight between unknown people took place after school near Vaughn and Trojan, not too far from Henry Ford High School. Surveillance video shows a group of students and several police officers on the scene. DPSCD tells us the officer responded to the incident and was injured. It's unclear if weapons were involved. The school district says the officer is a 30-year veteran. Tonight, the Great Lakes Water Authority says a rate hike is coming July 1st. At least half of that increase, though, is due to Highland Park's unpaid water bills over the last 10 years or so. And that has communities across the metro wondering why they're on the hook for somebody else's tab.
Yeah, Mara McDonald live in Wayne tonight. Mara, there is a meeting in the morning to try to hash all of this out.
That's right, Devin, between the Conference of Western Wayne and the GLWA, and I would not be surprised if tomorrow morning they take a vote here from these member communities that essentially are going to say, we are not going to pay anything that has to do with debt incurred from Highland Park.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Wayne Mayor John Racy saying aloud what communities across West Wayne are thinking.
We were shocked when we found out about it.
That at least half of the 3.7% increase in water rates and 2.4% increase in sewer charges are directly attributable to the $52 million the GLWA says Highland Park owes it. The city and the authority are in the middle of litigation over 10 years of non-payment. Friday, 18 West Wayne communities are having a meeting with the GLWA, and they have a whole lot of questions.
Trying to figure out what's really going on. I mean, why are we paying other communities' bills? I mean, that's number one question. How did they come up with the formula? Why is this happening? I mean, it's not right.
Analysis done by the Conference of Western Wayne has those communities footing 73% of the Wayne County allocation of this debt.
Canton residents should not be paying Highland Park's debt. Neither should other Wayne County residents be paying Highland Park's debt. The state should step in and intervene.
Back here live to that end, several elected leaders from all over Western Wayne have already sent the governor letters like this, essentially laying out the problem, wondering why it ever got to this, and asking the state to come in here and intervene. And if they're not willing to put up any money, at least send somebody in here to help with some sort of mediation to figure this out. We're live in Wayne tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
And nobody feels like they need another price hike on anything right now, given where we are, right, Mara? The war in Ukraine is in its third week now. Ukrainian and Russian diplomats failed to reach a deal on a ceasefire again today as attacks on civilians are escalating. Vice President Kamala Harris is in Poland meeting with allies where she called for an investigation into war crimes.
Absolutely, there should be an investigation, and we should all be watching. And I have no question the eyes of the world are on this war.
Ukrainian officials now say a Russian airstrike killed 3 people, including a child, at a maternity hospital. Vice President Harris working to smooth over a disagreement about helping Poland deliver fighter jets to Ukraine. U.S. defense officials believe the request from Ukraine's president for a no-fly zone would escalate the conflict into something even worse than it already is.
It would be worse for whom? For our families? No. Now it's very bad. And in future, it will be too late.
U.S. intelligence officials warn things may escalate in Ukraine, with Russia possibly planning a chemical or biological weapons attack. Late last night, the U.S. House approved close to $14 billion in aid for Ukraine.
Gasoline prices still going up, and a lot of people are changing their habits to try to save. AAA says the price of a gallon of gas hit a new high today at $4.31 per gallon. That's up 7 cents from yesterday, when prices also set a record. Here in Michigan, the average price is $4.26 a gallon. Gas Buddy predicts the increases may slow because the cost of oil dropped this week. A new survey from AAA found nearly 60% of Americans will make changes to their driving habits or lifestyle to offset the increases.
And as I just mentioned to Mara, it's not just gas. The price of so much has gone up. Inflation has hit a 40-year high. The Labor Department says inflation jumped nearly 8% over the past year. That's the biggest spike seen since 1982. Gas prices jumped more than 6%, making up nearly a third of February's increase. Food costs are up about 1% in February. Airfares jumped 5%. Federal Reserve is set to raise interest rates next week to try to stem the inflation surge.
Construction is set to begin on a stretch of M59 next week that many drivers say is long overdue.
It's the second phase of the M59 project. Jason Colthorpe there near I-94 to break it down for us. Jason?
Well, break it down is a good choice of words, Devin, because that's what the road has done here. In fact, phase 1, when you go from phase 1 to phase 2, the smooth road to this, it really gets bad. And you know, when you start a construction project on such a busy road, drivers get very frustrated. But here, drivers already have to slow down so much when they come through here because the potholes are so bad. And when you get a freeze-thaw cycle like we had recently, well, then it really looks like just an open gravel pit. And the patch crews come through on a daily basis to try and, give it a little Band-Aid, but it just does nothing. A tow truck driver told me just a little while ago, when that happens, they get 4 to 5 calls a day just for blown out tires, and that's just one tow company. Listen.
There's been some crashes because of the potholes. Cars start bouncing loose gravel and they'll slide into each other, but mostly blowouts and a couple ball joints here and there.
Yeah, so let me tell you exactly what we're talking about. I-94 is just down that way. Now, if you go that's going east. If you go west about 2 miles, right down M59, that's where you get to Elizabeth Road. They're going to do 2 lanes at a time on each side. Then by mid-July, they'll flip-flop that and hopefully have all of this done, the entire stretch, by next fall. Hopefully. Reporting live in Macomb County, Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Yeah, until then, this is going to be one of those you can't get there from here kind of situations. All right, Jason. Today was the first full day of testimony in the trial of 4 men charged in the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. Prosecutors played new recordings from July of 2020 in which the defendants describe the possibility of using explosives to, as they put it, rain down on law enforcement, with a team standing by to grab the governor. Prosecutors say the men plotted to kidnap the governor because they were angry about her pandemic response and policies, but the defense claims the men were big talkers and entrapped by government informants and FBI agents. A Detroit family searching for justice after their loved one was murdered just days before Christmas.
Cortez Bowerman was found dead last year on December 19th. Police say his body was discovered in front of a home on Orleans near I-75 on the city's east side. So far, there have been no clues into what led to his death. Today, his mother made an emotional plea for anyone with information to come forward.
My whole question is somebody's walking around thinking this man, they're not a man, you're a coward. I don't know who will possess you to pull that gun that day. No mother, sister, father, no one. She has to come. Nobody's not going, nobody's going to tell you they just gone.
Crime Stoppers is offering a cash reward of up to $2,500 for information that leads to an arrest.
Tonight, the Detroit Fire Department is now saying the fire at Mudgie's Deli in Corktown was an arson. We're told the fire was set outside the building overnight. Firefighters were able to keep the damage to a minimum. It was really just in the wine shop area. But you'll recall the deli's original owner and founder, Greg Mudge, died last September. So the restaurant has been juggling that loss, the pandemic, and now this. There is no word tonight on when the deli will reopen.
So much. A Chicago judge tonight sentencing former Empire actor Jussie Smollett to 150 days in county jail, saying he believes Smollett craved attention and that he faked a hate crime to make himself more famous. Smollett loudly declared his innocence shortly after the sentence was read aloud.
I am innocent and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that.
Smollett was taken into custody and will begin his sentence immediately. He was also ordered to pay more than $120,000 in restitution to the city of Chicago. Well, today marks the 2-year anniversary of the first COVID cases to be confirmed here in the state of Michigan. And we're making progress, but certainly keep those face masks handy if you are about to travel.
Yeah, because the CDC says mask mandates on airplanes, buses, and other mass transit will continue through April 18th. The agency will use the next few weeks to develop new, more targeted policies. Here's some other key dates in Michigan's pandemic. First death was reported March 17th, St. Patrick's Day of 2020. Governor Whitmer issued the first stay-at-home order on March 23rd. Today, Beaumont Hospital provided an update on where things stand today in Michigan.
We're currently in this post-Omicron recovery, and we're moving into what I'll call a sort of a quiescent phase. And this is a nice break for us as healthcare providers. This is a nice break for the community as well. But as long as there continue to be pockets of unvaccinated, unprotected people around the world, in countries that don't have as much in terms of resources as we have, then there's this opportunity for new clusters of cases to occur.
Beaumont Health says there are just 90 COVID patients across its 8 hospitals right now, and that's the lowest since August of 2021. So although COVID cases have dropped dramatically, local doctors say other viruses are now back with a vengeance in both kids and adults.
Our Dr. Frank McGeorge here to break down exactly what's going around, starting with one that is definitely keeping a lot of kids home from school.
Dr. Kevin Daisy at Children's Hospital says gastrointestinal viruses are really going around in kids, with a lot of children needing to be hospitalized because they are so dehydrated. Even some of the staff is catching it, so it's definitely highly contagious. Now here's what's going around near you. In Wayne County, in addition to those stomach viruses, Children's is also seeing some viral rashes. Dr. Christopher Lowe at Ascension St. John reports a number of patients with upper respiratory viruses causing sore, scratchy throats, sneezing, stuffy noses, and cough. The CVS Minute Clinics report an increase in flu cases over the last week, along with mono and ear infections. Moving to Oakland County, the Pediatric Emergency Center and after-hours clinic at Troy Beaumont is seeing a lot of non-COVID upper respiratory viruses with coughs lasting 2 to 3 weeks. They're also treating a lot of kids with stomach viruses and some scattered RSV. The CVS Minute Clinic reports bronchitis, sore throats, and ear infections. Looking at Washtenaw County, doctors at St. Joseph Mercy Ann Arbor are seeing some stomach viruses. The health department reports sporadic flu cases continue and respiratory illnesses are up over the last week in school-age kids. Heading to Monroe County, ProMedica Monroe Regional reports respiratory illnesses are very high. ProMedica Monroe Family Medicine is seeing colds, sinus infections, and some cases of flu. Checking out Macomb County, Dr. Julie Latta in the ER at McLaren Macomb reports a significant increase in non-COVID upper respiratory viruses and stomach viruses. The CVS Minute Clinics are treating flu, strep throat, and some cases of scabies. That's a contagious, itchy skin condition caused by tiny mites. Now finally, in Livingston County, St. Joseph Mercy Livingston and the Brighton Health Center continue to see stomach viruses going around and a number of colds. Now, stomach viruses spread quickly and easily, so if you or your child isn't feeling well, it's really important to stay home until the symptoms resolve. Back to you.
McGeorge, thank you. After more than a year of negotiations, State Attorney General and Eagle have reached a settlement tonight with Arbor Hills Landfill and Salem Township. Complaints about an unpleasant smell coming from the landfill led to the lawsuit and a $750,000 fine for Clean Air Act violations last year. The settlement includes requirements to resolve the issues at the landfill, as well as environmentally beneficial projects and fines, adding to more than $2.3 million.
I think it's progress. Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, we've been waiting a long time for some type of enforcement, and I think it's a success.
As part of the settlement, the landfill company must also operate as a free service for 10 years, and a buffer of spruce trees will be added to reduce the transport of odor from the landfill.
As we head into a busy spring on the real estate market, mortgage rates are on the rise. Mortgage company Freddie Mac says the 30-year fixed rate averaged 3.85% this week. That's up nearly 1/10 of a point from just a week ago. Experts say the war in Ukraine is causing percentages to climb because of market instability and the threat of supply shortages. Instability is an understatement right now, isn't it? Tonight, a couple from Grosse Ile sharing an inspiring story after they got into a motorcycle crash in Florida.
Yeah. Chris and Suzette Davenport were traveling to Florida on their motorcycle last May for their 26th wedding anniversary when they were struck by a car traveling the wrong way. Both lost their left leg and had several surgeries. They were forced to stay in rehab in Florida until June. The couple says they got through the intense recovery together.
If he had a down day, I was usually on the positive side and reverse that. You know, I had a down day. He was always like, nope, let's go. We got to get up. Let's do this. So, you know, we kept each other going.
The couple was welcomed back by their community when they returned home. They say they're now strong enough to return to work. Also, the Davenports tell us that they recently adopted a 3-legged cat who also lost its left leg.
It's just an amazing part of the story, isn't it?
Great.
Yeah. Wish them all the best. All right, coming up tonight on Local 4 News at 11 on the broadcast side, a rescue caught on police body cam video. You'll see a deputy and a Good Samaritan pulling a man from a burning car.
Plus, an assistant principal fighting to get his job back after being fired for the book he read to students.